Recon Athlete Podcast is brought to you by Kreitz Market, The Social, and Focus Fit San Marcos. Recon Athlete, episode number 58. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Lucetto on his way. As always, the diva always showing up fashionably late.
Yeah, that's how he rolls, baby.
We've got a special guest today. We are very honored to have the presence of Mr. Sandy Mcilree.
What's up, man?
Dude, thanks so much for coming in.
I'm a fan. That's the thing.
And I feel so good about that.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing, and I managed to just pester Chris long enough to be able to come in and hang out and talk a little bit of sports, because on my show I don't get to talk a whole lot of sports.
Right.
And having watched you guys, I think you guys are way deeper into sports than I am, so I'm just going to try to keep up.
I've been telling Chris, I was like, "Hey man, have you gotten with Sandy yet? Like, can we get this on the road?" Because I've been stoked since he made that announcement on Wednesday, and I'm like, I can't wait for Saturday. Like we were walking out the building and Wednesday evening, and I'm like, I wish it was just like Saturday tomorrow, because I'm waiting for Sandy to be on the show so we can get this thing going.
I got to catch up with you guys. Like Chris and I and Snoop go back to the radio days.
Yeah.
And it's good to catch up and find out what you guys are doing and kind of follow what you're doing with Snoop with the high school stuff and you with this. What's up, man? I'm Sandy.
Sorry we started, Zach. We didn't know when you were going to be here. You know how you do.
Hey, I almost sent y'all a text that I was like running a little on time, but and I was supposed to text and drive.
You feeling all right? I saw you weren't feeling good a couple weeks ago, right?
Man, that's like once a month for me, man. I don't know what it's like when the weather changes. I don't know, like my immune system can't take it or something.
For real?
It's like
not Corona, right?
No, not Corona. I've been getting sick before Corona.
That is true.
He's a hipster to Corona.
Everyone's new to this.
Zach's been sick.
Getting sick is so mainstream now.
He's been sick BC before Corona.
Yeah.
So you feeling all right though, right?
Yeah, I'm good now.
All right. Okay. Cool. So, but yeah, no, Sandy, like you're saying, like me and you and Snoop go way back. From our days over at Intercom, and you were there for 18 years. You were just saying.
Yeah, it was a good run.
Yeah, it was a real good run. Morning Drive, JB and Sandy show. I was a big fan. I mean, just fan of what y'all did, just in general.
I was always a little bit scared of Chris, because he would do remotes for us, and he would get there before us and set everything up and do all that. And he never talked to anybody. Nah. He just walked around like he was mad.
That's Chris's style. That's accurate.
But he's the nicest guy in the world, but he just would walk around like he was just pissed off at everybody.
and now I do a podcast with him, and I'm just trying to get some words in.
Right? Right?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, man, with being in radio. I got in radio kind of by accident, but a roommate or a friend of mine was doing an internship there. I had lost a job, and I met up with
sorry to hear
that. It was a party, a radio party. I went over there and I saw Russell Burgess, or I met Russell Burgess.
Russell the Muscle.
Yeah. And he was kind of, whatever.
Yeah,
and I was like, Russ, I was like, man, hey, can I get a job? And he was like, yeah, come in Monday morning. I'll pay you $8 an hour. And I was like, okay.
Well, that was easy.
You don't.
That's where I started.
You don't ASK. You don't GET.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's where I started as promotions assistant, like Sandy said, and I got in doing Inside Austin. Started doing a little bit on 1370. Me and Snoop started Fanstand in 2010, and just
has it been that long with Fanstand?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a real brand in Austin now. Years. The high school sports.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. You guys do a good job on your page too. I was flipping through it the other day about the high school football players and where they're getting their offers from.
Oh yeah,
and
that's Paul, man. Paul stays on top of it.
Yes, sir.
That's cool.
Yep.
It's fun. It's amazing how many athletes of that quality come out of Central Texas. Come out of Central Texas. Not to mention Texas as a whole. I grew up in Nebraska. You know what I mean?
Sorry to hear that.
There's not a whole lot of 5-star athletes coming out every once in a while, but I mean, it's crazy here. Like kids getting offers from Auburn, Georgia, Oklahoma,
Florida,
Texas, Florida.
It's also interesting to me to watch a player that's like relatively unknown, And I want to say first, we give the credit to Paul, and Paul does a great job keeping up with the social media and posting these kids' offers and stuff. But it helps to have the GOAT in the group chat to know when these things are coming and who's offering who's. So credit to Snoop as well. But it's interesting to see these kids that are relatively unknown, like the kid from LBJ, Makuba.
Andrew Makuba.
To see them pick up an offer, to hear like the buzz about the player from Snoop or from Paul or from Chris, who's been to a game. And then to see them pick up offer from like Sam Houston or something, and then to see them pick up offer from SFA, and then it's Texas State, and then it's Louisiana Monroe, and then it's as soon as that FBS Power 5 offers them, it's back to back. Because to see these schools like be like, okay, what is Auburn seeing that I'm not seeing?
Right.
Let me offer this kid too. And then because you hardly ever see a kid, you hardly ever go on a kid's page and see offered by Tennessee and no one else.
Right.
It's always the whole conference or the whole division or whatever. I think it's really interesting to watch the trends of how no one wants to miss out.
That's true. They don't. You know what's interesting? I think in today's world, and I'm a little bit older than you guys, but I think that obviously recruiting's become easier because of social media.
Absolutely.
But I think more kids are being found than they were before. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of kids that didn't play college football that probably could have played.
And Paul, that's what Recon kind of is all about, right, Paul?
Yeah, that's exactly kind of the modality that Recon Athlete was built from. The ideology was that we want to give a voice to the student athletes that really don't have a voice. And you're talking about athletes like Andrew Makuba, who was coming into his sophomore year, really probably as a 2-star recruit, and then coming full circle now going into his senior year being a 4-star athlete. Now that's coupled with him releasing ACT scores, which really was the catalyst for him jumping up to these major universities and having the dominoes fall. But it's one of those things where you have athletes who's like a Latrell McCutcheon, who's a big 5-star, probably 4-star, 5-star kid. I think he's 5-star. And you start having more exposure. And when you promote these young men and women on social media, it's easier for universities to find them and kind of get that huddle, which is a crucial part in the recruiting process for them to kind of get more and more exposure. But it all starts with, one post and then more posts follow with it. Yeah. And it's like you say, more diamonds are being found in the rough than ever before here, especially in Central Texas.
Yeah. Or even you talk about how recruiting has changed and how popular it is now too. Like all these recruiting services that you can pay for to be an insider to see who Texas is recruiting, to see the junior that Texas is looking at. But I think what's different too, you watch all these movies, you watch like We Are Marshall or these college football movies, and you see these coaches going on these big recruiting trips. Now. And I went to Hendrickson. We had Kenny Williams, who went to Texas Tech and played in the Cowboys practice squad for a little bit. And he was the first like big name recruit that I was exposed to as a freshman in high school. And you'd be on campus and you'd see all these guys walking around in UT polos or Alabama polos or Texas Tech polos. You'd be at the games and you'd see the recruiters in the top corner of the stands or in the press box. But now they don't even do that. They don't even go to games. All you have to do is go to the Nike camp and see all the guys in the region. All you have to do is go to the 24/7 sports camp. And it's almost like now that social media has given this other avenue for exposure, these recruiters want to see you be proactive and go to these camps to get yourself exposed, and that's where they're going to see you. Because it's
kind of like a combine for high school.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if you're the best player in the nation, but all you do is play high school football. You don't play 7-on-7. You don't go to camps. Yeah. There's a high possibility that no one's even going to find you at all.
Right. Yeah.
Because half of the recruiting thing, like we've seen the kid from Del Valle, Caleb Burton. Mm-hmm. He didn't put together a very good year last year. His team didn't do very well.
That's true.
He didn't perform like we expected him to with coming in with all the offers. But as soon as the season's over and the camp circuit begins back up, you start seeing more and more schools offer him, because that's all these schools are looking for is the times, and they're like, I want to see that you can do the movements and put on the weight and lift the weight, and I'll do the rest.
Yeah,
right. And you see that a lot too on social media for their personal Instagrams and Twitters. They're almost becoming their own brands. They're doing their own marketing by showing themselves working out, putting work into the off season, and that's what a lot of coaches want to see. Taking that proactive stance is because they're taking ownership of their own recruiting instead of leaving it to a third party or to maybe their coaches.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that I think is a big advantage right now, especially for young women coming in. But I think the future future, and this is just a little gem I'm going to drop, and this is something that we're going to try to start incorporating, is that a lot of times kids wait for coaches to reach out that and establish that communication bridge. But I think the future is going to be student athletes going out and establishing the communication bridge with the universities that they are interested in. And that could be depending on the type of classes or the type of degrees that are offered at the university, or maybe just overall campus lifestyle.
All right. Recon Athlete, episode number 58. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Lucero, the legend Sandy Mcilree in the house. Sandy, once again, thanks for coming in.
Happy to be here.
I want to shout out the people on the watch party right now. Snoop, of course. Forrest Walls, Anthony Lopez, Eric Partita, Mac McKinley. What's up, Mac? I'll be over at CI probably, sometime. Common Interest. He owns Common Interest.
Oh, right on.
You been to Common
the
Interest?
Karaoke bar? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good friend of mine. His son is a good friend of mine. Shout out to Jeff Kelly. And Reed Coleman is on there. Reed, I hope you're feeling all right. I was at his 40th birthday party last night. We did a party bus to the rodeo.
Oh, right on.
He was wearing a Billy Ray Cyrus type wig, like
mullet.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'll post it. He had a hat on. They took him on stage, sang happy birthday to him. I mean,
that's awesome.
We had a great time at the rodeo last night. The rodeo is not canceled, hasn't been canceled because of the coronavirus, but what has been canceled because of the coronavirus is not only all of the events that we were talking about on Wednesday's show in episode 57, but now it's hitting home. It's hitting South by Southwest. Snoop Daniel, I know, is very disappointed. I mean, he posted emotional eating last night, and I thought it was about something different, but it's probably about South by getting canceled.
And that's exactly what I saw on Instagram, and I'm like, why is Snoop sad? Has these sad faces? And he's the one who broke the news to me that it got canceled. As soon as I did a quick Google search, I'm like, oh, bummer for Snoop.
I mean, and that hits home. It hits Austin, Texas, man. I mean, I'm gonna talk about it real quick, just because. I mean, we're losing millions of dollars as
the economic impact of over $300 million.
I mean,
wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it blows my mind. I mean, I got a buddy that's an Uber driver. He actually drove me out to Reed's house last night, and he was talking to me. He was like, man, he's like, that's hitting me hard, because he does that full time.
Yeah.
That's his full time gig.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, he's like, I was expecting to make, bukus of money.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know what to do now. Now, being a little bit selfish, as a school district employee, I get spring break off, and so now I don't have to deal with all that traffic.
Yeah.
Right.
But, yeah.
But South by Southwest being canceled because of the coronavirus, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, Sandy, what do you think about that?
Look, I'm no doctor, but why?
I mean, you were grilling me. You were grilling me as soon as I walked in. What do you mean you're not a doctor? I showed up 3 minutes late. I barely shake my hand.
But I'm caring. I just cared about you, man. I'm just prefaced this by saying there's people a lot smarter than me that make these decisions.
Right.
But you've got a 3.5% mortality rate on coronavirus, mostly from the elderly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's another strain of the flu.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems a little much to me, but I can see the business side of it too, where companies don't want the liability of sending their employees somewhere, that there's not even a reported case of it in Austin.
Right.
I can understand being concerned of people bringing it in to Austin, which is cool, but I don't know. My guy, I think it's a bit of an overreaction.
I think so too. I mean, and it's crazy, because even driving yesterday at 5:00 in the afternoon, because like I said, my buddy Emo is a Uber driver. We were driving down Mopac, and I'm like, dude, this traffic is like moving pretty quickly. He goes, oh, bro. He's like, Apple, Indeed, Google, like all these tech companies, they're telling all their employees to stay home.
Yeah.
There's nobody. They're not at work. I was like, for real? He was like, yeah, it's been like this all week. He's like, I drive all the time. He was like, and traffic just hasn't been like, Austin traffic. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. But of course, once we get out to 183, heading out towards Leander Cedar Park, it just stops because, the people that live out there, coming from downtown. But it's just nuts. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to have, easier ways to get to the golf course, I guess.
Here's kind of the upside, I think, of this is that I look at what's the opportunity here. And I think a lot of businesses that, like you mentioned, the tech companies that people aren't coming to work, now they have a reason to prepare for their employees to not come to work in the future and build the infrastructure that's needed for them to work at home. You know what I mean? That's just kind of the kick in the ass that sometimes you need to be ready for it the next time.
Yeah.
Sure. Because there's going to be another one.
Right. I work for the state as well, and all week they've been having meetings, and this coming Tuesday, everyone in my department and a lot of departments in the state are working from home preparing for potentially working from home for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Because of this, to like you said, just have everyone work from home, make sure on Tuesday that it works out, that they can do it, and just kind of prepping just in case type thing. But then so all day at work, I'm hearing that. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this thing crazier than I thought it was? and I go to the UT baseball game, being like, damn, there's not gonna be nobody here. Like, I wonder if people are gonna be getting concession stands, like everyone gonna be like not going to the bathroom or what? And it's like a normal crowd. Like some people either care a lot or not at all. There's like no real.
I just say wash your hands like you're washing Kate Upton.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Word up. Yes.
I got little hands.
Spend a lot of time just
get your weight up.
Just rubbing it.
You know what I'm saying?
That's funny. Yeah, and making the smooth transition into our Houston Astros bandwagon
you like how I did that?
topic. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Look at him repping low key over there.
One of the things that I heard this morning, actually, out of the Houston Astros camp was they are not, because of the coronavirus, they are not allowing their players to give autographs and to exchange items with their fans,
really
shake hands, do anything like that. So what they're doing with the Astros is they're gonna pre-sign items and then hand them out.
Johnny Manziel did that and he got in trouble.
Well, yeah, that's true, but I'm just saying, like,
that's I mean, kind of looking for the experience of seeing the guy sign the thing.
Yeah, and that was going to be my point. I'm glad you brought that up, Sandy, because I mean, like, especially for the kids, like just having the player come up to you and just handing them a baseball or a glove or something, and like,
will you sign my ball, and then him turn to the side and pull one out of a bag that's already signed, and toss it to you, not even hand it.
Like, here, go deep. But I mean, that whole experience is now going to be, just altered, and we're not going to be able to do that. And I think the Houston Astros and the Washington Nationals they're the first two teams to do that. And it's two World Series teams, but yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'm paying those guys the kind of money I'm paying them. I don't want them getting the coronavirus. You are worth a lot of money. I don't need you mixing with people that you might get sick, and I'm out my money.
We've seen people scratch from lineups for less. So,
yes. Now, baseball players always have the goofiest injuries.
Well, you know I remember you remember Strasburg a few years ago. He didn't start because he got icy hot on his junk.
Yeah.
But
although I don't think I would be able to pitch if I had icy hot on my junk either. So
that's true.
No. I'd be out for a month.
Well, see, I don't know if y'all know. I mean, I know y'all don't because y'all are uncultured and don't watch any sports.
That's true.
CJ McCollum for the Portland Trailblazers. He was really the first athlete to come out and publicly say, because due to this coronavirus scare, I won't be signing any autographs. This is a personal thing. It's for the health of my family and friends, and it has nothing to do with the fans. Like, I love the fans. And a lot of players are starting to do the same in the NBA. And what some other teams are doing, including the Trailblazers, for the guys that are still signing autographs, is providing their own Sharpies to the players before and after games, instead of taking someone else's Sharpie. So to remove that kind of exchange of germs from it as well. So I mean, it's a real thing.
If you were a player that was good with fans before, you know what I'm saying?
I would have passed. I would have failed the test.
If you were a fan-friendly athlete before this, then I think you can get away with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you weren't a fan-friendly guy before, you can do it, but you're not going to get away with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. And so the Astros, they're going to be handing out, like I said, pre-signed stuff, at their spring training. Now, my question is, who are they going to be handing it out to? Because I feel like the bandwagon for the Houston Astros has completely gone missing. Paul, every time I come up with my Astros hat, he's always saying, man, Chris, no chill with your Astros.
No chill, bro.
With your Astros. Bro, I'm a Houston Astros fan since I was a little bitty kid. I was back in 2012 when they were losing 100 games a year. I had to search this city high and low to try to find a Houston Astros hat. They had Texas Rangers gear everywhere.
Yeah.
I went to Dick's Sporting Goods up at the Domain. I was looking, they had a wall of Rangers things. Houston Astros were terrible at the time. I had to ask the guy, I was like, hey, do y'all have any Astros hats? And he was like, nah, I think you have to get that online. So I mean, that's the type of fan I am. I mean, Dan Grosso of SiriusXM, I listen to him. He calls them the Houston Cheaters. He doesn't even call them the Astros anymore.
Man.
So the bandwagon to me this time last year, you saw Houston Astros gear everywhere, all over town. I rarely see it now. I rarely see it. I don't know if you guys, I'm kind of in tune with it.
Yeah. Right. You're looking for it.
I'm looking for it. Yeah. But I don't know, do you guys think, Sandy, I'll let you go first. Do you think that bandwagon is officially gone? And if they do well this year, do you think it'll come back? That's
for two things. One, winning cures all problems.
True.
Winning. Two, here's the thing I want to know. I think the Astros are probably going to lead the league in hit by pitches.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially the first run through the league. Mm-hmm. They're gonna take some in the ribs, man. They're gonna have to take their lumps the first time around and see what happens. But as far as the fans, winning cures all.
Yeah.
People have very short memories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really, look how many athletes of teams have done far worse things.
Yeah.
And people just forget. You know what I mean? So I think it's cyclical, just like anything. Right now, it's the topic du jour. The next time a big baseball story is out, everyone's going to forget about the Astros. It's 162 ball games.
Yeah.
You can't stay angry that long.
Nah.
You know?
Zach?
No, I think people just want to be mad. And we're speaking of bandwagons, I think like the day that we live in now is like, everyone's mad on social media, the cool thing to do is to log on and see that and join in. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many people that like could either A, care less, or B, are uneducated as to what really happened, but they're the vocal majority because that's what everyone else is doing. So, but if I'm the Houston Astros, all spring training long, all practice, all I'm doing is running, working on jumps, working on seeing the pitches, seeing the pitcher, because as soon as I get hit, I'm taking second. I'm taking third. So you're going to hit me, I'm going to steal all the bases. The Astros are going to come April with the skinniest lineup you've ever seen. It's gonna be nothing but center fielders. And they're just gonna get hit and steal all the bases. They'll be like, all right, you gonna hit me. All I need is bunt in all my runs. Gonna be at third.
That's a good strategy, Paul.
For the baseball, I am that demographic. I'm the uneducated and ignorant to the fact. But like, I know this. I love Texas, and Texas. I root Texas first. And so in baseball, whatever team is hot, and if it's the Astros, I'm gonna be repping the Astros all day long, because personally, if the Astros are being successful, that's what I'm going to ride with. I'm not really going to worry about what happened in the past. I mean, the championship's not going away, and as far as I know it, I love watching a team from Texas succeed. So that's what I'm about, and that's where I'm going to kind of stay in my lane with that.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's just like I'm gonna be an Astros fan. I mean, I'm disappointed on what happened, but I'm still going to be be Astros all the way, and I mean, I probably people probably look at me weird if I got my Astros hat on, but I don't care.
Yeah, I would think like 95% of the people don't even know what happened.
Right.
If you're out, you know what I mean? If you're out rolling with your hat on, no one's gonna you're not gonna be.
And just so much of this stuff happens in baseball. So much of this stuff happens in baseball. This is just the first time that it's like really been brought to the forefront of the news. Like, there's a dude. I don't know if you saw this. The Angels visiting clubhouse manager just got in trouble because he's been the clubhouse manager since like 80 something. Mm-hmm. So since you were around, and he said he's been giving he's been giving opposing pitchers like a sticky substance to take out onto the mound. Since he's been the clubhouse manager.
For the visiting team.
Yeah, for the visiting team. I'm sure he like got some money or whatever too.
Oh, yeah.
But like, also all these pitchers that are like, they should redo this. Like, my ERA was this because of them. Like, I had my worst season because of them. Blah 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 blah. You're probably getting sticky substance from the clubhouse manager. That sounds weird to say.
You're doing something.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny what we frown on and what we don't frown on, because we had some serious guys that juiced up the ball, and we knew they juiced up the ball, and we liked them. You know what I mean? Before your time, you had Phil Negro, Gaylord Perry. I mean, everybody knew that they were roughing up the ball and making it do things it's not supposed to do, and no one cared.
Yeah, no, they didn't. I mean, and now what they do, I mean, if you watch a baseball game, like at the major league level, at least, I mean, if that ball even skips the ground, they throw that thing away.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like oh, it skipped the ground, so we throw it away.
I remember as a kid seeing that and just thinking, that's crazy, because we had like one baseball for the whole neighborhood. You know what I mean? And someone hit it over the fence. You're like, oh, man. Yeah. Got one ball.
Yeah.
Like high school baseball, they foul one off. People in the dugout got to go get it.
Yeah. Was that you because you were riding the bench?
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. All right, Recon Athlete, episode 58. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Lucero, Sandy Mcilree joining us. I want to shout out to our watch party joiners, Mr. Warren Rulin. He comments Houston asterisks. So, all right, that's what's up. And Craig Way. What's up, Craig?
Craig Way from the Voice of the Longhorns?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Pretty
Craig's
sure.
a good man. I love that dude. He's I think sometimes Longhorn fan, you take for granted how good he is.
And how much work he does.
And how much work that guy is.
He's amazing.
One of the best.
Amazing.
I mean, he's so good.
He'll do a show on the horn in the afternoon, fly to a basketball game, and get back to do a baseball game.
Yeah.
In the same day.
Yeah. And I always want to, like, if I'm watching
and there's a high school football Hall of Famer too, like while you're listening to it.
If you're watching a Longhorn game and you see a great ending or whatever, and you see it on TV, you always go back to find Craig's call.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you gotta find it. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta.
I love the hometown calls. The hometown the hometown radio station.
Like all that stuff.
I love it, especially in the Southeast.
Oh yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah. And you know what? And this is going to be another topic as assigned, because I'm going to bring this up now that where we're talking about broadcasting. I heard a debate the other day. I can't remember. I can't remember what show it was. I wish I can remember. I'd give them credit, but they were talking about broadcast teams, because apparently Peyton Manning might be
with Al Michaels.
Yeah,
Monday night.
Be. And I think I'm not sure Peyton Manning is built for that. I don't know. I mean, he is a guy that can do it, but Sandy, I mean, you're the broadcast guy. You know, I mean, what do you think? Okay,
so here's the thing with Peyton Manning. Peyton's been preparing himself for this with the Peyton's Place thing on ESPN streaming,
right.
So he's getting used to it.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning is not going to do anything that he's not really good at.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And I think he's self-aware enough to know that he's not going to be. I mean, if he thought for a second that he was going to be Jason Witten in the booth, who was horrible, or Booger, in the Booger Mobile,
with no self-awareness.
I mean, if he thought that he was going to look like that, there's no way in the world he would do it.
Right.
If he thinks he can look like Romo, who I didn't think would be good when he got that gig, I was like, are you kidding me? What does this guy know about broadcast? He was fantastic. He's great. He just got $17 million to do it. So I think if Peyton thinks he can do it well, he'll do it. If he doesn't think he can do it well, he will not.
Zach, what do you think?
I think they got it all wrong with the pairings, though, because I have the perfect partner.
Here we go.
Brad Paisley.
You want to take the Nationwide to the booth?
Yeah, those commercials are awesome. Peyton Manning and Brad Paisley, Monday Night Football.
Brad Paisley do the play-by-play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Yeah. I mean, they've had worse. They had Dennis Miller. They had Tony Kornheiser.
I guarantee you Brad Paisley would be better than Jason Witten.
Yeah, that's true.
Bro, I think my eyeglasses would be better than Jason Witten was.
Paul, what do you think of Peyton Manning in the booth?
I think Peyton Manning's been preparing this even before his Peyton Places. Whenever he went on, started getting SNL, he's kind of been grooming himself, I think, to be more and more of someone that's going to be speaking on TV most times. And I think Sandy's completely accurate. The man's not going to do anything unless he's a professional at it. Yeah. And that's where I think he's grooming himself into be that position with Monday Night Football, but he's not going in that booth unless he's going to get to shot call who he wants in there with him. Yeah. And it probably is going to be Al Michaels.
Yeah, and I think one of these things, one of the things that that because there's basically right now Peyton Manning's got two choices to make, right, for his career at this point.
Be rich or richer.
Yeah, be rich or richer.
Exactly.
And because a lot of people have also talked about him being a general manager, being a GM. So you can make a lot of money doing broadcasting, working basically kind of part-time. I mean,
traveled.
Yeah.
The travel's tough.
A lot of travel. Or you can be a GM of a team that is a 365-day a year job.
But stay in one place.
Okay. I haven't thought about that. To talk about that, saying I haven't really thought about that as far as making that choice.
I mean, just the grind of travel like that. I mean, they travel well. You know, they're not. It's not like you and me getting on a Southwest airline flight.
Yeah,
but
how you know I take Southwest?
You get a feeling.
What are you, a Delta guy?
If I
you fly private, right?
Sometimes.
Yes. But I just where we go. It's tough. I mean, why? If I'm Peyton Manning, why would I do anything? I just keep making commercials.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, not the broadcast booth, not the GM.
No.
My thing about it is we all know Peyton's cerebral, and I think that he would make a great coach. But I think stepping into that booth to be an analyst, a color analyst, he gets to fulfill both sides. He's going to probably make over $18 million, but he's also going to get to break down teams on a weekly basis, and he really doesn't have to say anything negative to maybe like it would have been his brother. And I think that's why he really hasn't taken a step like that, because he would have had to say something probably critical of his brother, and he didn't want to do that. But now that Eli's retired, I think totally this is up Peyton Manning's alley to also maybe do a little bit of traveling, charter, private, and he's also going to be fulfilling that coaching aspect of breaking down film and doing what he loves, and also being charismatic and witty, and on television, which he's very good at.
Essentially, coaching the viewers, really, like kind of how Tony Romo does, where he says he knows what's going to happen before it happens, and he tells you why he thinks that. Mm-hmm. But I think that this is something that Peyton Manning has always wanted to do. I think, in which I don't necessarily know like is his thinking, but like we've so much like predetermined this path that NFL, MLB greats are supposed to take after they retire. Like as soon as they retire, you're like, are you going to be a coach? Are you going to be a GM? Or are you going to do broadcasting?
Yeah.
Like we don't even let them like marinate on the retirement for any amount of time. But for Peyton Manning, it's always been the same excuse as to why he wasn't doing it, and it was because of his brother. Right. Yeah. He didn't want to have to be critical of his brother, and he like stayed true to that. And now that his brother is retired, the kind of conversation about it has heated up. So I think because he's had like a legitimate, consistent excuse, like I think this is something he really wanted to do, and I do think he'll be good at it.
I think Monday Night Football needs a better damn schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, their schedule in the last few years has been bad, right?
It has.
And my take on that is okay, so like how do you put this? The network so NBC, right? I'm gonna dig myself a hole now.
No. Yeah. Come on.
It's just that I think the NFL kind of sticks it to ESPN because they'll show stories that are uncomplimentary of the NFL.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They will go there.
Yeah.
And NBC
the 30 for 30
on the Sunday, that stuff. And NBC with the Sunday night games, which is the number one show on television every single fall, they don't go there.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes just my own dumb thought is that the NFL is kind of sticking it to ESPN. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With crap games.
Yeah. So. Because they can always change them.
Yeah.
I mean, but they do change them in the daytime games and in the network games. They like you see them flex those games like that, but that's never something you see.
You can't do it on Monday night.
Right, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
The only way that they could make those games better, because you don't know the 49ers were going to go to the Super Bowl, like when you're planning the schedule, like you would have to allow them to flex the games. And like you said, I don't think the NFL is going to allow that to happen. That's like you watch college basketball, you turn on ESPN any day of the week, and they're showing Memphis games all year because Memphis was supposed to have that kid that was the number one recruit in the nation, got Penny Hardaway coaching this top 15 team, and that kid left and they've gone downhill, but ESPN stuck with all these games. So it's so hard to like forecast who's going to be good, especially if you have a good season on your hand like we have in college basketball. Everyone's so competitive this year. In football this year, there were so many good teams that we didn't know how it's going to shake out. If you were to forecast the games and you always be right, then you're like, this season has been very predictable. So because we had such a good season last year, the Monday night games are just trash.
And the big market teams are always going to have an advantage,
right?
And the Cowboys. Right. I mean, but the big market teams you're going to take one of the New York teams,
and none of those teams have been good.
Carolina,
none of those teams have been good.
Right.
New York, Chicago.
Pittsburgh wasn't very good. Chicago wasn't very good. Yeah. Green Bay was good, which was good for Monday Night Football because they had a few games on there. The Cowboys weren't very good.
Yeah.
The Rams weren't very good.
And the only reason Cleveland got in prime time is
because they were
Baker.
Supposed to be very good,
right?
In the preseason,
kind
of how Memphis was,
right?
Where people thought that Cleveland was going to do good with all these big time recruits that they brought in, like Memphis, and now ESPN stuck with all their games, like Cleveland and Memphis.
Yeah. All right, guys. Recon Athlete, episode 58. Once again, I want to shout out everybody on our watch party that joined us here. Kalunga, what up? What up, John? King Kalunga, we're going to see you tonight at the Ice Cube concert. We're going to the Ice Cube concert.
Are you really?
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. I think me
Cube's still out doing it, huh?
We actually have something on the Recon Athlete story. He was like, pretty much F the coronavirus. Y'all need to come out to my concert. That's pretty much what his message was.
Where's that show?
Nutty Brown.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to
Under
be
a quarantine tent.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, and at the end of the video, he goes, wash your hands.
Yeah.
Also, I want to shout out to James. What's up, James Etheridge? He says, great show, fellas. Appreciate it, James. Cool. All right. College trades. I don't even know how to make that transition because, Zach, you put this on the messenger the other day, right? And I want you to explain what you're talking about because you basically said, what if they allowed trades in college? Now, that is a very extreme viewpoint or take. So I want to hear you kind of explain this to us.
I'm a big volleyball fan. So men's college volleyball is in the middle of the season right now. And the podcast I listen to pose this question of what if they allowed trades? Kind of like instead of the transfer portal, if the teams took even more control and said, you want to leave, we're going to get something back for you. That means, and just like the NFL, that means player for player for picks, so potential recruits maybe like a first round pick be like a potential 5-star recruit, or if you want to send like the school that has like a bunch of Nike money or like a big like assets like that, if you could trade that way. I actually found an article.
Did you?
Yeah, from last year on 24/7 Sports. Proposed trades going into last year. So this one says Missouri senior quarterback Kelly Bryant for Wisconsin sophomore quarterback in a safety. So if you're Missouri, if you're Wisconsin, who's always been kind of a quarterback away, who's had the defense, had the running game, but always has a quarterback with unfitted sleeves that only throws it 15 yards. If you could get a quarterback like a Kelly Bryant, what would you ship out? What would you do if you're just a quarterback away? So some of the ones that I was thinking of is if you're Texas, who has Sam Ehlinger for one more year, has the stable of running backs now, has a bunch of big time recruits at the receivers that are getting older, has the defense that's been brought in every year, but the kind of one constant is Tom Herman. Is Tom Herman going to be the guy that's going to be able to lead him? What would you trade to a Penn State to get a Franklin? What would you trade to Bama to get a Saban?
Paul is just like, I want to know what Paul thinks.
I found an article too, but I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah.
So I think if you're Texas, I think you have a bunch of running backs. You have a bunch of young running backs.
Yeah.
Penn State's. So Franklin was the guy that Texas was supposed to get instead of Charlie Strong.
Yes.
So Penn State's running back why don't you send them Roshan Johnson? Why don't you send them Daniel Young? Why don't you send them some guys you have on defense? Maybe Demarion Overshone, who's really kind of the next generation, like versatile linebacker safety thing to get a new head coach.
Are you for real with this or just for fun?
No, like for fun.
Okay,
for fun. Yeah.
Paul doesn't like to have fun, so he doesn't like when I do this.
So y'all remember the movie Men in Black, right? And they had that neuralizer thing. Well, you might as well just go ahead and click this little button and just remove all the NCAA rules and policies and procedures so we can have this conversation. Because there's actually an article out there where they said, look, if you want to indulge this idea, go ahead and just forget about all of those rules and policies. Yeah. So jumping into that mix, is it plausible? Yeah, it is, but I think it's.
I'm not even talking about being plausible. I'm just talking about fun, Paul. You just want to bring up Men in Black because you wear a black shirt every podcast.
Right, every single time. But it's a disadvantage, I think, because you're limiting a lot of schools. Now, if we were to just say Power 5 and that's where we land, great. Yeah, it'd be a really great opportunity to bring in a great coach or trade or move some assets around that are beneficial for the university that you like. But in the long run, I really don't see that happening. And really, we live in a culture right now where we live in a recruiting aspect. Whenever you need a new head coach, you go out and recruit that head coach. Whenever you have a need at a position, you go out and recruit that need. But these universities with huge amounts of resources, you're pretty much already really doing that in my sense, the way I see it. Because wherever your holes are or wherever you forecast your holes are going to be, because these Power 5 schools really don't have to worry about 2 or 3 classes in, go out and get that need because you're just going to recruit and load up those assets to bring in the recruits.
Yeah, but what if you're close? I mean, like for fun
Right.
here. What if you're close to winning a national championship and you have a need, at a quarterback or a running back or wide receiver? I mean, I think that's, it's for fun. Sandy, what do you think about,
It's fun to think. It's fantasy. It's just like fantasy football.
Exactly.
I mean, right? I mean, that's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
I can't get past the whole.
See, that's me and Sandy in the same area.
No, I think I just can't get. It takes away. I know this is fantasy, but it takes away the one thing a college kid has that the pro player doesn't have is choice.
Right. Yeah.
Where he goes.
Yeah.
And if you're essentially taking that away, if you did this, kid grows up in Austin, dreamed his whole life. Let's say Sam Ellinger, his whole life wanted to play quarterback at the University of Texas. And then one day you come in, oh, sorry, we're shipping you to Ole Miss for 2 DBs and a linebacker. What?
If I'm a Texas fan, my parents
live here. My grandma lives here. My girlfriend's here. Yeah, it's just the one thing you take away. It's fun to think about. I mean, it's just like thinking about trades in any professional sport. Some work out, some don't.
So what if it took the players involved to sign off on it?
What if the player went and demanded a trade that's
why we have the transfer protocol.
Which I am not a fan of.
Which the players, the player was like, the 2 universities got together and say, hey, we want to do this, but we got to get these guys to sign off on it, and they did it.
And you can bring your girlfriend, and we'll send you a 4-star recruit next year.
Yeah, exactly.
So the girlfriend's worth 2 stars.
All right. Well, it was a fun topic. I wanted to let you entertain that because I kind of wanted to get.
I just think it's fun to think about. I mean, you especially when you see these guys that like Shane Buechele, who Texas had sitting on the roster last year, who went on or the year before last, who went on last year to be really successful at SMU. Mm-hmm. What if Texas could have got something back for him? What if could they have used him as like a trading piece? Like, what if you could post a player like to the trade block to see what offers you get? Like, I think that's like a fun.
Yeah, you get like like you said, a head coach or maybe some scholarship, maybe a scholarship.
But they did that when he left to go to SMU on scholarship. They replaced it with another scholarship.
Right, but you just get like an extra one or something.
Oh well, they got see.
And then you get.
I'm too jaded and cynical to get past all these NCAA rules.
I know, but it's just
No one likes to have fun like we do.
Yeah, well, the industry we're in, we need to keep compliance.
Nah,
that's where I'm at.
My truth is, I don't know enough players to drop names.
See, and that's the hard thing. So in men's college volleyball, the podcast that I was listening to, in men's college volleyball, there's only like 30 teams. There's not very many schools that have varsity men's college volleyball.
Who's a good team in men's college volleyball?
Southern Cal is always good, aren't they?
Yeah, USC. Not this year. But like this year, the best teams are BYU and Hawaii. All the Cali schools, UC San Diego, UC Santa Barbara, UC Irvine, Pepperdine, yes sir. It's a lot of West Coast. Yeah.
How do you know this?
I'm kind of a volleyball fan.
Are you really?
I think those guys are badass athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, they are studs.
You see guys
the women's
out there
game is great. Gregory Gym, if you ever get a chance to go see the women play, it's fantastic.
My family has season tickets. I love it.
Great fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great gym. It's fun.
Let me know if you ever want to sit courtside. I mean,
oh man, look at you! All right,
I'm Mr. Southwest, I guess. But if you want to sit courtside at some college volleyball,
yeah. So, but Zach's, you're a big volleyball guy, Yeah. So, like, I mean, and that's cool. So, how did you? I've always wanted. I mean, other topic as a sign. Let's go off the rails here. How did you get into volleyball like this? Because, I mean,
dude, that was all the girls.
He did say that before on the show.
All the girls. So like growing up, I mean, even now, I mean, like you're old, so you probably really have to try to find things that are different to have in common with the girl. So girls always thought it was so cool if you knew how to play the sport that they played.
Yeah.
So if the like basketball player or whatever that's like super tall and athletic is playing volleyball and he's like doing it all wrong and sucks, that's like unattractive. But then if I'm like super good, then
yeah,
Well, I'll give you. I think I had this trivia right. Can you name the NBA Hall of Fame basketball player that's also in the men's volleyball Hall of Fame?
Really?
I cannot, but Chase Budinger, who is a former NBA player, is now plays on the AVP tour, the men's volleyball tour. Yeah.
So who is that?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Really?
Wow.
Wilt was a badass volleyball player.
Joel Embiid. He didn't play basketball until like high school because he only played volleyball.
Yeah. It's a great game.
Yeah.
It's fast moving and
the men's game is crazy. If you ever like, it's so fast. Like it's a point every second because everybody hits so hard. There's guys out there with 40+ inch verticals. It's insane.
Where do you watch it?
It's hardly ever on TV.
He's the creepy guy down at Zilker Park.
Yeah. But like if you try to watch it on TV, you have to watch it. You have to like I have the BYU TV app to be able to watch games like that.
Damn, you are hardcore.
Yeah. And then like they post a bunch of games on YouTube and stuff like that as well.
Nice. All right, Recon Athlete, episode 58. We got Sandy Mcilree in the house. Sandy, you got the Sandy Show podcast. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so what it is, we're a syndicated show we're on in 8 different cities, and then we take the radio show and repurpose that into a daily podcast.
Okay.
So we just cut all the commercials and stuff out.
Yeah.
And just put that. It's like 35, 40 minutes every single day. Our affiliate stations get the show and they run it, and then we just release it as a podcast. That's it. Yeah.
Nice. And where can we find it at?
You can just search the Sandy Show podcast.
Sandy Show podcast get it everywhere
that you want. And I say that I just signed a contract with a new distributor for it, so I don't know if it's all going to make the move or not. I literally, it's going to be weird for the next couple of weeks.
All right, so maybe after this, you can help Recon Athlete.
I'm here for you, Sanchez.
Find our way.
Absolutely,
find our way. I mean,
it's
you're going to be
grind.
You're going to be a resource.
I was telling you this before we went on the air. I don't think you were here yet, man. Yeah. But you guys are doing what everyone else doesn't do. Is that you're consistent?
Right.
You got to keep grinding it out and doing it and do it. And I'm a fan, man. It's kind of weird. I catch you on the replay sometimes at night when I go to bed, and I just listen to it like I'm listening to the radio.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's what I do.
Well, I appreciate it. And we'll wrap this thing up with our finally, and I don't know how much, hopefully we can.
Well, my ideas are always a bust, so it's only going to take 10 seconds to talk about it.
No, we're going to do your segment, Master Debaters, Tua versus Joe Burrow.
So I was thinking, Sandy, since maybe you listen all the time, so you've heard me talk about it. But everyone's kind of said for the number one pick that Joe Burrow is kind of a shoe-in, either Joe Burrow or Chase Young. Mm-hmm. So how do you make an argument if you were to take a quarterback number one that's not Joe Burrow? Mm-hmm. How do you? So if it were to be Tua, how would you argue Tua over Joe Burrow? How would you argue Herbert over Joe Burrow? Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to see. I wanted to see these guys argue it.
I finally did. Dev finally did some stuff.
So would you argue? Would you be arguing for Tua, or
I can do some Tua.
Could you argue somebody? Could you argue Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
All right. Let's Paul go first. Joe Burrow versus Tua Tagovailoa for the number one overall pick.
Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa.
So Joe Burrow, coming off a Heisman Trophy winning and national championship winning campaign this past year. Joe Burrow, for me, does 3 big things. The biggest thing that he does is he has great ball placement. And when you have huge, big, Blitnikoff award-winning receivers like Jamar Chase, it makes things a lot easier. And I think throughout the season, we really saw that whenever he played the University of Texas, the biggest foe that they had at that time. And so ball placement, I think, was paramount for him. Back shoulder throws, and then also the timing that he had was really great for them. But also, I think his eyes, being able to move safeties left or right and control the defensive backs is a huge leap that a lot of quarterbacks don't get to make until their 3rd or 4th year in the NFL. He's already game ready. So having that in his back pocket, I think, is very paramount for him moving forward. In addition, I think the biggest one and the last one is just his awareness. Him being able to feel the pocket, if it's collapsing, he can go ahead and he's fleet of foot enough. We'll see how it transitions to the NFL, but in college, he was able to move ball or continue drives down the field, especially on 3rd and longs and 3rd and mediums with his feet. And we saw that, of course, against the University of Texas. But also in the national championship game, whenever the Clemson Tigers started to pressure him a little bit more late in the game, even though they should have done it earlier, he was able to move outside and get around so that he could keep the drives alive. And of course, in the end, win that national championship. So for me, ball placement, his awareness, and the vision, his eye movement, being able to control DBs are the biggest assets that he's moving forward with into the NFL.
Yeah, and for Tua, I would think that, and I heard this comparison, and I didn't really think about it, but it's a pretty good one. He's basically a left-handed Russell Wilson. He can move. He's going to be able to run. I know everybody's concerned about his hip, but they've already had MRIs. It looks like everything is fine. Looks like he's going to be healthy enough, to start out. That's basically the biggest thing about Tua is that hip injury. Okay, now he gets past that injury. He's 2 years younger than Joe Burrow. All right, so he's a young man. He's going to be able to get through this and be able to start right away for an NFL team. For me, before this season, before Joe Burrow's, from what a lot of people thought was the greatest college quarterback season ever, before this season, Tua was the guy. He was the number one pick. Now, it's taken a extraordinary season from Joe Burrow and a devastating injury out of Tua for Joe Burrow to jump Tua, but people are still talking like Tua could be the number one pick. Okay, so for me, what that says is Tua has shown more and been more consistent over the years. Joe Burrow has really only had this one season. It's one. Now, granted, like I said, it was one of the greatest ever, but Tua has shown what he could do more consistently. Joe Burrow could come out and just be a bust. Okay, we're not sure the consistency of him, right? But we've seen consistent play out of Tua the past 2-3 years. So for me, if I can get past, if I'm a GM, I'm an owner, and I have to put a lot of stock into what the doctors are saying, about this injury, I wouldn't put it past, getting that left-handed quarterback, that Tua guy, into my locker room, because he's a leader. I know Joe's a leader, but Tua is a guy that he does not want to lose ever. I know Joe's the same way, but he's just shown poise and leadership throughout his career at Alabama. And playing at Alabama, there is so much pressure, to perform. So that's my Tua argument. And
then so Sandy, I would ask you if your number one pick wasn't going to be Joe Burrow and it was going to be a quarterback, is it Tua? And if not, who is it?
What team am I?
I'm
the Bengals, yeah. Right? So I'm gonna. What do I want to do? Tua is the kind of what it looks like to be the future of the quarterback with the size,
right?
You know what I mean? So size doesn't really hold him back as much as it did other guys because the league has changed so much.
Yeah,
Burrow had, like you said, an incredible season. My expectations, if I take either one of them, are going to have to be really limited because of the ball players that are around them in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cincinnati is not a good organization.
No.
It's a terrible organization. Does he have the tools to succeed, and are they committed to getting the tools for either one of them? Mm-hmm. Either one. It's Tom Brady has all the records and all the rings, but if he didn't have guys that could catch the football, mm-hmm. guys that could block for him, then, if any guy that gets drafted in the NFL to play quarterback can stand in a pocket and hit people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I'm saying? But there's so many intangibles. The thing about Tua, for me, I can't get past the injury.
Yeah.
I cannot.
It's hard. It's hard.
I cannot take him number one with that injury and spend that kind of money knowing that a lot of number one drafted quarterbacks are busts. Mm-hmm. I'd trade them. I trade the number one pick.
Yeah. You talked about consistency, and for me, for Tua's career, he's been consistently injured. And the 2 out of the 3 years that he's been at Alabama. And for me, for Joe Burrow, I think the biggest thing, his biggest asset as far as intangibles, he's a fighter. He's faced adversity at Ohio State. He had to go to LSU and sit for a year, and then he had to go out and prove himself week in and week out on a drive to become a Heisman Trophy winner and a national championship because nobody knew who Joe Burrow was. Tua was the guy, like you said, Chris, coming into the season. He was supposed to be the Heisman Trophy winner. He was supposed to be the national championship after Jalen Hurts left for Oklahoma. Joe Burrow came in with all that adversity and knew that he was a fighter. Is he a bit brash? Is he a bit braggadocious? Or is he a bit, calling it shot caller? Yes, he is. But I think that is because of the adversity that he's had to face on his ride to becoming the number 1 overall pick. But I agree also with Sandy. The Bengals organization is not going to be a conducive a place for him to have success.
No, it's not. I lived in Cincinnati for a year.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did the show up there. Right?
Yeah, I did. And that organization, man, I admire Burrow for saying, yeah, I'll play for him. He's from Ohio.
Yeah.
Which tells the good thing about both these guys, I think, even though you mentioned he's a little cocky and does his thing. That's
kind of the wave now.
Right. It is. But I don't think either one of them are a character problem.
Agreed.
I don't think you're going to have trouble with either one of them. I think they're both going to handle success just fine. They're not going to be idiots.
Yeah.
Put it that way. Yeah, they may have a little fun on social media. Burrow may light up a cigar, whatever.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're going to have the problems with those guys. And that's a lot in any workplace, right?
Yeah.
There's the pain in the ass factor. How much is your boss willing to put up with the pain in the ass?
Yeah.
You know he's that good, I'll put up with the pain in the ass. But if he's a pain in the ass and he's not that good, then get rid of him. Right. I don't think we have a Ryan Leaf here.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he is. Although I don't like left-handed quarterbacks.
Oh,
I never liked playing with left-handed quarterbacks in Madden. It messed up my plays.
Ball spins the wrong way.
Yeah. I did think when I was thinking about y'all's arguments, what y'all were gonna say. I thought you were gonna bring up something that I kind of picked up on during this last season with Tua. Is sometimes it just kind of looked like he didn't really give a shit. Yeah. Where like he would get knocked down and then be out of the game for a little while. Where it was almost like, I've done all this before. My team's already up. Like I'm kind of hurt, so like I don't really care. Yeah. But then that made me think of the last quarterback that we had out of Hawaii in Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
And he kind of seemed like that all the time. Even in Tennessee,
when
he was doing well, he never really. He's just not like a very
intense,
outwardly emotional guy like Joe Burrow is, like kind of the new wave quarterback is, like the Baker Mayfields, like the Kyler Murrays and stuff like that. So I was gonna say that maybe Tua did have that character flaw of not really caring or being like above the game sometimes. But I think that's maybe just kind of how they're coached over there. Right. Is like you know how like when you're growing up as a pitcher and pitching Little League, your coach comes like when you're getting touched up a bunch and you're like throwing your glove and pouting and stuff, like because you were probably really bad at pitching. So man, like and your coach just comes and tells you like to fix your body language. I could see them coaching them like that in Hawaii. Like you don't want to show, like don't let them put something on you and not being able to represent like where you're from just because that you're showing like your body language is bad. Yeah. So I don't think either of them have any character flaws. I think Burrow is a little bit more fiery. I think Tua is a little bit more consistent. I think Tua is injury prone, but I think Burrow has shown bad tape. Mm-hmm. I don't think Tua has really ever shown bad tape. He's had no tape because he's been injured, but he hasn't had the poor seasons like Joe Burrow had. I mean, Joe Burrow was nobody. Joe Burrow was the reason that LSU wasn't going to be that good last year until he was the reason that they were. But when it comes to the arguments, Chris, you were definitely more prepared than Paul.
Was I?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
No, I think you were. I think you were. You were very convincing.
He just loves razzing you, Paul.
You said that Texas was the best opponent they'd faced at the time. Well, yeah, because it was like the second game of the season, so that was kind of a given. So I think Chris, you had the better argument. If I was,
this guy's sucking up to the host, didn't he?
I know.
Yeah, so I think you would win.
Good at it.
I think you would win that one.
All right. Well, thanks, Zach. And we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. Episode 58, Recon Athlete, Sandy Mcilree, The Sandy Show podcast. You can search The Sandy Show on wherever you get your podcast, right,
Yep,
Sandy?
exactly. Thanks for letting me come in. It was fun. I enjoyed watching. It's fun to be here and hanging out with you. You guys know a lot more about sports than I do.
What about your socials? Where do we find
the Sandy Show is our Facebook is at The Sandy Show Radio. Instagram is at The Sandy Show Official.
All right, so y'all go check that out and make sure you go and subscribe and check out Sandy Mcilree and Tricia. Well, I don't. He will go over there and hang. He's listening. he's in the green room. Shout out to Kreitz Market, our official sponsor. Got a shout out to The Social and Focus Fit San Marcos as well. Don't forget, April 26th, we're going to have another live show from the Kreitz Market. They're in Lockhart, Texas. What time are we going to try to start? Do we know that yet?
We're going to probably start about 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. And we're going to have some guests, hopefully some Lockhart High School football players, try to get some other guys in.
All of Austin, baby.
Yeah, whoever, if y'all want to come in, talk your program, get your name out there. Snoop Daniel will be there, Paul Rodriguez, Zach, of course, there's an open invitation for you, Sandy, of course.
I just come to eat.
Yeah, just come by, come by, hang out, eat some barbecue.
Absolutely.
So make sure you check us out. Wednesday, 8 o'clock, we'll have, we're going to try to do some March Madness. All right, let's try to do some basketball stuff. We got the tournament coming up here in a couple of weeks. Elections.
You guys got to get that Buffalo Wild Wings thing. Did you hear about this? So they're doing a contest in the Chicago place, but it's a nationwide contest where you're going to live the Thursday and Friday, the opening of the tournament, inside the Buffalo Wild Wings. They built a dorm room, right? And it's facing out to the street, and everyone can see you in there watching the games. Free food, free beers, the whole thing. I mean, you live there for Thursday and Friday for the whole tournament. And you're like in an aquarium. Yeah. And everyone's watching.
Paul has lived at Buffalo Wild Wings for the past 6 months.
That's right up my alley.
What's the best wing there?
I'm probably the mild. I'm not that big on
mild.
I like the mild.
Are you
I can eat more
drums or flats?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I did. I don't know if you saw our show on Wednesday, but we had a Master Debaters segment on drums or flats. So
we're flats. No bones? We're flats.
Flats, like the drum,
wingettes.
the wings.
Oh, I like the wing.
The wing part.
Yeah,
not the drum.
I like the wing. I like to tear it apart, open it.
Yep,
yeah.
that's me too.
Yeah.
That's me too.
All right, that was Wednesday. We had
you guys are really hitting the big topics here.
Oh yeah, hard hitters only.
Oh yeah. So appreciate everybody coming in. Sandy, once again, thanks for coming in and joining us. Shout out to Zach, Paul, Snoop Daniel over in.
Yeah, Sandy's such a
green
cool looking
room.
guy. He just looks like he knows a lot of stuff.
It does.
It's all smoke and mirrors, baby.
Yeah, Paul. Do your thing, baby.
Hey, y'all, let's check out tonight. Nutty Brown Amphitheater, Ice Cube in the building, Trey the Truth opening. Catch these guys. They'll probably be out there. King Kalunga, we love you. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all enjoying the podcast, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Get at Sandy at The Sandy Show. Hit the bell on YouTube. But we gone.